Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm fighting off a Republican cold. But anyway, I want to thank the Barack Obama Democratic Club and its leader, one of its leaders, Mark Levine, who is supporting this candidacy, for inviting me to this very special meeting. I'm glad to be home. This is home for me. And you may ask yourself why. Well, when I was a 14-year-old boy, growing up right in the corner, right there on 3681 Broadway, I came here to Mr. Black's basketball program. Frankie is laughing because I'm dating myself. But I also went to public school right there on PS 28. And my grandmother was on 157th Street before I was born. I met my grandparents here in New York City. So this is home. This is a neighborhood that I call home. And yes, we've done great things in this neighborhood. I remember when Al Curlin and I worked in the precinct council, dodging bullets when the drug wars were going on in this neighborhood. Well, over 100 people were being killed a year in this neighborhood. More people were being killed in this neighborhood that are being killed in any sector in a war zone, either in Iraq or in Afghanistan. And we were able to build a new precinct, and we were able to bring programs here to stop the onslaught of the drug dealers and the drug gangs. And yes, I worked with Councilmember Robert Jackson to build 16 schools, new schools here, when the school district was so overcrowded that we were busing over 5,000 kids a day outside of the district to the Bronx and other places in the city of New York. So this neighborhood has come a long way, but we need to do more. And by working together, I believe very strongly that by working together, this club, the Barack Obama Democratic Club, which I think has as part of its fabric the word change, we could change the political culture and the political landscape of Northern Manhattan for the next 20 years. We can do that, working together. And I must say that there are 3 issues that I will take to Washington with me. The first one is housing, because everybody knows here that we're being priced out of all of our neighborhoods. And HUD has been an absentee landlord. I remember when the federal government, before Reagan, invested in housing. Many of our best programs have federal funds for housing units that are affordable for working families like ours. So I want to make sure that we bring the federal government back to the housing business so that working families are not pushed outside and our city is segregated between the have and the have-nots. The other issue that I want to work on is immigration. I'm an immigrant. I came here with no papers. Imagine that. What a country. I came here with no papers and now I'm a state senator and I'm running for Congress. Great story, a real American story. And you know, I think that the DREAM Act must be passed to allow young people to have access to higher education. There is no better economic development plan for this country than education, for those that have papers and those that do not have papers. So when I went up to Albany, not only did I pass an in-state tuition bill for undocumented students with a Republican governor, I went across the aisle and I got Governor Pataki to sign that into law. But now I introduced the New York State DREAM Act. And I hope that before I go to Washington, this session, we will pass that bill in Albany. And finally, the third issue that I want to concentrate on is jobs. Because you cannot do anything if you don't have a job. A job dignifies you. It's the best social program you can create. And we need to bring more jobs to this community. We see the young people in the corners, young men and women that have nothing to do. We had to have training for them. We had to have workforce development for them. We're working very closely with the Port Authority to bring 600 new jobs in what will be a state-of-the-art shopping center right there at the bridge terminal. But that's not enough. That's not enough. We must have meaningful job opportunities for our young people. So those are 3 very important issues to myself. You know, you have housing, you have immigration, and you have jobs. I will take that to Washington. But I want to leave you with one special message, you know. We're not losing the American dream. Each and every one of us is the American dream. When my grandmother was a seamstress in the garment district, puncturing her nails through the old-fashioned Singer machines, she never expected her grandson to be a senator. She had the wildest dream that her grandson will be running for Congress. Each and every one of us working together the American dream is not an esoteric pipe dream that, you know, we want to grab it and we don't get it. It is the work that we all have to do together to ensure that we take America. from a Congress that debates and debates and debates every year very important issues to all of you, but we get no results. I'll leave you with this, and I said it in the fundraiser, and I will say it again today. President Kennedy said a very important thing. Imagine, President Kennedy was the first Irish Catholic president, as Obama was the first African American president. What a moment in history. He said, the torch must be passed to a new generation of Americans. Join me in this journey. We will transform this neighborhood, and you will have a fresh, new, bold voice in Congress. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Senator, unfortunately, any of what you would like to have happen unless the military budget is cut by 50%.
Absolutely.
And unless there is a great public investment which is financed by increasing taxes on the wealthy. Will you support both of those?
Well, first of all, I led the resolution that was debated in the New York State Assembly against the escalation of the war into Iraq. And secondly, we fought very hard this past session when we had the special session for the governor to finally agree that he could support a progressive tax structure, the millionaire's tax. We would have lost over $1 billion in revenue that would go to education. I voted last year against the education budget because it chopped up the school system. This year we got additional funding. And we got that because we passed the millionaire's tax. And now there's revenue on the table. But that's not enough. Our state must adopt a progressive tax code that is that the more you make, the more you pay. And there's so much going on in tax breaks for the rich. And there's so much going on in speculation in the market. Many have characterized it as a casino environment. When you consider the cost of oil and how much you have to pay gas at a pump, but how that impacts on food. There are several countries in Latin America where you're having civil unrest because of the cost of oil. And that's driven by speculation. And those companies get tax breaks and loopholes, and we must stop that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You make those centerpieces because I'm very pleased by what you said.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator.